Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of VCTV with your host, Kyle Ellicott. Today, we're going to be talking about a favorite subject here, and that is blockchain at VCTV. But more importantly, we're going to go down even a more fun, more exciting, more talked about conversation today, and that's around non-fungible tokens or NFTs. We've seen a ton happen in this space recently and over the last 18 months. We saw $250 million in transactions in 2020. In the first half of 2021, we saw over $3.5+ billion transacted, well over 15x that of the year prior, and continuing to see that growth month over month increase. We also see new use cases. We've got Twitter talking about how they're going to bring NFTs into authentication. We're seeing NFTs in the enterprise. We're seeing them in our daily lives. We're seeing moments. We're seeing pictures. We're seeing everything when it comes to NFTs. But how does that play into the future of entertainment? Well, that is what we're going to be speaking about as I'm joined with some outstanding hosts and some outstanding friends from around the world and the VCTV family to share their thoughts and insights with you on just that and more today. Big thank you to the Token team, to Hasmik and Maria for making today's episode possible. With that, I'm your host, Kyle Ellicott. Emmanuel, let's kick it off with you. Quick introduction and background for everybody.
Great. Thank you, Kyle. Hi, everyone. My name is Dr. Emmanuel Dungobo. I am the Developer Relations Engineer at Aventus Network, which is a Layer 2 blockchain network. Prior to that, I did a PhD in telecommunications and blockchain from King's. I'm super excited to be here to talk about this really exciting topic. Let's do it. Thanks, Kyle.
Emmanuel, I'm feeling the energy. I love it. Let's do it. That's right. NFTs, non-fungible tokens. Let's go. We also had news today by Ripple that they're going to put out a $250 million fund for the purpose of bringing NFTs to the XRP protocol as well. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. Adrian, next up, a little intro background for everybody.
Hi, Kyle. Hello, everybody. Thank you very much for having me here today in the VCTV La Token Familyverse, as we've named it. I'm Adrian Niculescu, serial entrepreneur and investor. I'm involved with 3 projects: Cloudcoin Consortium. Cloudcoin is a post-blockchain digital currency, and we have a Cloudcoin-based platform for NFTs called tinynft.io. Also, I'm involved with Cloudcoin Finance, which is a DeFi project, DAO1, a decentralized autonomous organization, and also I'm building CoinCruncher.com, a news and education for everything blockchain. Happy to be here today and contribute.
Outstanding. John, welcome to the show. A little intro, a little background for everybody, please.
Sure. How's everyone doing? Thank you for having me on the show. My name is John Carantonis. I've been in the digital media space for some time, but most recently in fintech for the last 7+ years, and primarily evolved from payments to blockchain, and most recently really getting into the NFT world a lot more. And I'm super excited about NFTs. I think they represent a massive shift in terms of how blockchain could be much more mainstream, and how it could really open or how the NFT could really open the opportunity for content creators, really changing the game for them. So I'm really excited to talk about this. But just really briefly, the fintech area that I've been involved in is primarily blockchain. We have a number of projects going on in blockchain. I'm part of a company called IBBT and ILOS Holdings. And like I said before, there's numerous projects. So thanks, and I'm looking forward to chatting.
All right, looking forward to figuring out what those projects are. You're so mysterious about them. So I'm excited to hear more about it. Last but not least, Jessica, welcome. It's an absolute pleasure. A little intro and background for everybody.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jessica Greenwalt. I'm the creative VP for a crypto security company called Fishfort, and I'm the creative director for Binance's decentralized NFT platform. I basically eat, sleep, breathe NFTs all day, every day. I act as an NFT strategist for a lot of creatives and brands as well. And I'm excited to be doing this talk right now because today I can finally talk about a generative NFT project, which fits very well into this discussion, that's dropping today that my friends and I are launching.
Well, then there's no better way to start this episode. Jessica, what is, first off, a generative NFT? Why is this so new and also something big to be spoken about? And then tell us about this drop and everything that's coming with it. And then we'll get into the bigger discussion of NFTs today.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm glad you asked. So generative NFT projects, they're pretty trendy right now. You've probably seen a few of them where an artist will create a bunch of different assets that get randomly put together when a collector goes to buy that piece. So the creator and the collector don't really know what it's going to look like. And you can make it so that each piece is unique. So for example, you'd have an artist draw like 50 different hairstyles, 30 different eyes, 60 different lips, whatever you want, right? Like have some hats, some fun stuff. And you get to assign rarities to each one of those assets. So let's say you want a bunny ears to be super, super rare. You'd say, oh, I only want 1% of my collection to be able to have this, or 0.02%, whatever you want. And then you hit mint, you get to find out what you get. And you're kind of hoping that you get something that has a random characteristic or asset inside of it. So lots of fun for everyone because it's a surprise, and also it's a surprise and a lot of fun for the creators as well because we don't know what's going to happen. And the really cool thing about these projects is a lot of them are giving the collectors the commercial rights to use however they want, which is it's completely new in this space. It's completely new just generally. Usually you get a piece of art and you don't own the rights to then go reproduce that or create derivatives off of that. And now with a lot of these generative projects, you do. And these generative projects are releasing thousands, right? Like you're usually seeing 10,000 assets, which would be really difficult for someone to do by hand. So being able to make all those pieces and have them put together is makes that a lot more efficient. But regarding what's dropping today is a project called Deus Ex, which is, for those of you who don't know, it means God of the Machine. And it's a collection of 10,101 generative NFT art pieces that are based in this whole world that's set in the future where cybernetic beings have to be created. And you get to decide what faction you're in and actually shape the story by owning one of these pieces.
Very, very exciting. This is very cool. Congratulations to you and your team. John, I want to come to you next on this. I mean, you mentioned in your introduction that you're getting into NFTs and you come from the media background. Is this one of those things that you're looking forward to, or what drew you into non-fungible tokens now here in 2021?
Well, we've been drawn in for a couple of years, and we started recognizing the trend. I mean, since the CryptoKitties craze, but I'll be honest, I didn't quite get it at first. I'm like, oh, what is this? It doesn't really make any sense until I started to really think about, with everything becoming more digital, how does that differ from the physical world? The idea that you can program scarcity and uniqueness into a digital asset, aside from the idea of, being able to prove who owns the asset, those types of properties and aspects of what an NFT is really started to strike me, and their applications, their use cases in commerce started to really kind of bloom in my mind. But my business partners and I really started looking at the world from where we were coming from, which is fintech. We were thinking about what kinds of new products could be created in the financial technology world. But some of that we see how that also blends into opportunities for merchants, for brands, and for content creators to sort of come together in areas. So we see NFTs and the utility of NFTs really evolving in ways that content creators could really take some of the power back. And not everybody will. Not all content creators are going to go in this direction. But for those who have the ability to influence, and it kind of does depend on where they are on that scale of dependence versus influence with regard to, maybe the record label they're working with, for example, if they're a music artist, or something to that effect. If they have more influence, then they do have the ability to possibly create their own record label or NFT. Every single digital asset or piece of content or music piece that they produce, and in perpetuity receive some fraction of or a royalty from that, or some fraction of the sale every time it trades hands. And that's pretty interesting. But we've applied it in different ways. We've created NFTs for with a partner company that's developing fragrances in a sustainable way. They're developing men's and women's fragrances, for example. The company's called B224. But with them, it's one of the first use cases of tying an NFT to a real product, not only for provenance, but for attaching unique art and the utility of possibly access to a unique event associated with that product. The same can happen for artists and content creators that want to tie into these opportunities or use the same form or format of an NFT to provide access to a private event, or create a fan base, or a commercial opportunity that doesn't exist yet. I mean, we don't know. There's so many things that could bloom from this. So that's part of what's exciting. But we've applied NFTs for yacht memberships, fractional yacht ownership memberships, real estate. That's a very exciting area. Again, from more of the financial technology aspects, but definitely are looking at new opportunities in the entertainment space. So imagine a content network that really doesn't have too many intermediaries. Content creators can independently produce their assets and publish those assets to that network. And then the audience can participate in an NFT as a subscription to that particular piece of content, or to that network channel that the content creator produces. So just a high level example, but we're thinking about these types of opportunities, absolutely. And we're seeing an explosion of potential, really, for around NFTs.
Right. And you mentioned commerce. We had Visa talk about NFT commerce, that they see as a future piece of the monetary system in their eyes as well, and something they're getting into as well. Gated content or community-driven content, you spoke about that. And we've started to see more around that. And again, that gated area of entertainment and membership. Adrian, any thoughts to add on to kind of where NFTs in the future of entertainment bridge? Emmanuel, I want to come get your thoughts next, and then we'll come around for the next question.
John painted pretty well how the entertainment world is changed by NFTs. I'm personally looking at how the people involved in the music industry are using NFTs. It's somehow a change of paradigm, how self-publishing meant for the book authors, actually. Before that, you needed a publishing house. Now you can go to Amazon and publish your own ebook. The same with NFTs. Of course, you need a platform, but you don't need necessarily a label to distribute your music or to distribute your art. You don't need a label for that, and it gives back a lot of power to the regular user, which is a very important thesis in the blockchain space. The main problem, which is not solved yet, is to connect the copyright owner with the owner of the NFT, because in many cases there are sold things where the seller is not, let's say, the authorized person to do it. And also, and this is a new asset class called non-fungible assets, the kind of NFTs where 100% the asset is connected to the token, not to be two different things. These are my additions to what John just said.
Thank you very much, Adrian. Emmanuel, thoughts as well?
How the NFTs are disrupting the entertainment industry. I mean, if we take a step back and look at the first really use case of NFTs in really blockchain in the entertainment industry, we go as far back as ticketing industry. We see how ticketing has evolved with the rise of NFTs. Initially, we had ticketing done with simple ERC20 tokens, and there was a huge gap in how that would be implemented and how that would be implemented correctly, because it was not unique. It could be exchanged for one another. But now with the rise of NFTs, ticketing is now different. It's now more unique. It's able to be done better on the blockchain. Previously, you would have to create tokens on the blockchain for tickets that the blockchain would be totally agnostic to the nature of the ticket. Is the ticket for VIP or for early birds? But now with things like batch ticketing, batch NFTs that are coming up, you could make the blockchain aware of the nature of the ticket. Is it for VIPs? Is it for early birds? These are things that we're seeing with NFTs. As NFTs begin to expand in what they can do, and one of the things Jessica was talking about, which is generative NFTs for artists. We're seeing this, and it's becoming very quite interesting. A company called Axis has just launched an NFT entertainment channel, and it's available on Roku TV, Apple TV, Amazon Fire. It's really interesting what we're seeing with NFTs and how they're going out. I mean, the idea of an NFT entertainment channel is completely new. I can't wait to see what they're doing in this space. But these are the kind of innovations we're seeing with NFTs in this space.
Hey, Emmanuel, if I can jump in really quick, since you're more on the technical side, and I was recently reading an article about how Ed Sheeran, who's an artist, was combating scalping and fraud in France. I believe it was in France in terms of the ticketing. So can you kind of give us an idea how is that each ticket then an NFT, and how does that prevent fraud or scalping?
Okay, that's great. That's a good question. Okay, so more from a technical side, if you don't mind, I'll give you a little bit of description of how we do it at Aventus. Now, what we have here is we can approach an NFTs from different perspectives. If you take the initial ERC 721 approach to it, you just had one NFT per one token. That's a whole different type of architecture as opposed to what ERC 1155 brought to us, which is more batch NFTs. So now you can batch NFTs for tickets, and you could have tickets grouped for 1,000 tickets for a certain class of individuals that bought those tickets. What this now gives us is a way to integrate these tickets into a secondary market where you have the event promoters, you have the actual artists themselves have oversight over how their tickets are being sold in the primary market as well as the secondary market. We saw a huge problem with the secondary market prior to NFTs, where you have people buy primary tickets and sell them on secondary markets for inflated prices, ridiculous prices. And this would be a hindrance to stop people from going to events. And this also, we then saw the cases of people buying fake tickets, fake generated tickets for events and getting to the door and noticing that their tickets are invalid. But with NFTs, what you're able to do is to verify that your ticket is valid before your event date even comes up. And then also be able to maintain the price across the primary market, secondary market, so your customers that really want to engage with your content are not put off by fraudsters out there. I don't know if that answers your question a bit.
Yeah, no, that's very interesting. Because I was really trying to think about that from a technical standpoint earlier as I was reading the article, and was just curious because you mentioned you're more on the engineering side. So I wanted to just see if you can provide some insight there. But sorry to sway the conversation in a different direction. Go ahead, Kyle. I apologize.
No, it's perfect. Please, no apologies. This is what we do here on VCTV, educate and talk about these types of subjects. This is great. And, Jessica, I want to come back to you. You're about to do this drop. You've learned probably a ton. We'd love to hear some of your learnings, but also I want to talk a little bit about marketplaces. As NFTs move in to bridging this world of entertainment and pushing its future ahead, how do marketplaces like Binance and those otherwise in the market play a role? But first, lessons learned from this drop that you're about to do with your friends, and then we'll get into the marketplace.
There is so much more behind the scenes that needs to get done than the drop, right? There's several months of planning and putting together art assets. And if you're working with a very talented artist, which we are, and we'll be announcing at 11 who he is. He's a comic book artist based in India, and just his work is stunning. And we've gone back and forth multiple times, and I've been worried that I was going to annoy the crap out of him because he'll send something spectacular and epic, and then I'll be like, "Well, I just ran some tests, and the assets don't mesh together as well as we'd like. So how about we do XYZ, right? Like several layers of iterations. So there's a lot of upfront work. And then there's all the getting the word out about the project that you want to do way in advance of actually dropping, right? Like the idea is you have your pre-sale list. You let your hardcore fans, the people who are supporting you, who are in your Discord, who are like actively engaging with the community that you're building, you let them get in early. And a lot of the really good drops, they sell out shortly after the pre-sale list is closed. So a good chunk of those NFTs out of the 10,000, several thousands will already be sold by the time it hits the public market. And usually, if you've done things right, they sell out in minutes in the public market, in the public sale. And then after that, then it's all secondary. So everyone's left to making offers on the NFTs that have already been purchased. And if you're in the NFT space, what you really want to do is get into that pre-sale list, because then you're paying, $200, $300 for an NFT as opposed to the several thousands of dollars that it is the moment it hits secondary sales. So learnings, a lot of upfront work. There's some legalese that you want to get sorted out. And then, of course, there's managing the team and making sure that you are all on the same page about how the contract will work out, because you're actually putting one of the ways you can do it is actually putting each person's address directly into the contract for initial and secondary sales. So, it's making sure that people are incentivized to do the work that they need to do because they're getting paid in perpetuity if they're in the secondary. So, just aligning incentives is very important, and getting all the upfront work done before you even do the drop. Major learning, which I've seen over and over again for a lot of the drops. Now, at this point, I've lost track of how many drops I've helped manage with Binance's NFT platform. So by the time it came to doing this generative drop, I've been I've been through the ropes a few times, if you will. Your second question was about marketplaces, and what was it? It was how marketplaces are interacting with entertainment.
Yeah, how will marketplaces play a role in this? John's point, talking about NFTs holding that extra piece to a private event or a gateway to a community, et cetera. How do marketplaces play a role? Will they just be the buy and sell, or will there be something more that you think could be there for them as well?
Well, actually, so a lot of the founders of the marketplaces, we all talk, we're all friends, and a lot of us work really hard to help the creatives and brands come up with the NFT strategy and come up with really cool ideas for how they can reward their collectors. Because, me personally, I believe in creating ongoing value, like creating utility for the NFTs and making sure that the brand or the artist or celebrity, whoever's dropping the assets, is invested in making sure that their collectors are going to be happy if they've hung on to this. So if that means giving them access to basically a private club or events, in-person events, concerts, exclusive merchandise, you name it. We've seen all sorts of really cool stuff. And what works best is totally different depending on who it is that's doing the drop. So as someone who's been on the marketplace side and whose friends are in the marketplace side, like we've all been working together and working with the creatives and brands to help, one, educate them on the space, educate them on crypto. Like we've all had to help people set up wallets and understand how to transfer money, and then design a drop that will be valuable to people long into the future.
That's awesome.
Jessica, we're seeing the same thing, and I think educating the the artists and creators is sometimes challenging too. I think they're all really now just starting to realize how this could help them extend their brand and create commerce and like I said before, gain leverage. If they're an influencer, they can gain a lot more leverage than they had earlier. So it's very exciting what you guys are doing, and we should definitely connect after the show.
We'll definitely make sure everyone gets connected. Furthermore, John, I want to come to you as you spoke up first. In terms of closing thoughts today, would love to hear where you see the future of NFTs. Where are the opportunities that need to be built? Where are those channels that people should be focused on investing and building on? And then where can everyone find you and the company to connect offline?
Great, thanks. Closing thoughts. Again, this is just off the cuff. I really see NFTs and the market for these particular unique digital assets and products that content creators, artists are starting to realize how to leverage this format. I see it as potentially a composition, part of an investment portfolio, really, for anybody. So anybody can invest in their products or artwork, and that's an exciting area for us. The way I could be reached is john@geopay.me or John Carantonis on Twitter.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, John. Emmanuel, same question. Closing. Thank you very much, John. Emmanuel, same question. Closing thoughts. Where can you be found online?
Great. So closing thoughts. I think NFTs are great. The fact that we can have something that's so unique and it's an asset on an immutable ledger it's great. It's honestly just great. I honestly think that where we would see significant values for NFTs would lie in the metadata that the NFTs carry. I think that's so important because with regular tokens, you can simply just burn them as fungible tokens. But with an NFT that has a history behind it, it has a rich metadata supporting that NFT, that could significantly increase the value. And like I said, I work at Aventus Network, and that is something that we're seriously looking at, how to preserve the value, how can we utilize the value of NFTs, how can we bake that into the blockchain in such a way that it's so compatible, because we are also a layer 2 blockchain, so moving NFTs from one layer to another layer and keeping that metadata and bringing it into rich marketplaces for users, I think that's going to be a fantastic implementation of NFTs in the future. Like I said, I'm Dr. Emmanuel Lungubo. You can find me on LinkedIn. I accept connections pretty quickly. Hope to connect soon.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Emmanuel. Adrian, closing thoughts. Where can you be found?
I posted recently a screenshot on Facebook of a dragon I just bought, asking people if they know what it is. A lot of comments came, and one comment said, "We'd like to know which of them will be available and which will not be available." So I believe there's a lot of knowledge to be collected in respect of which NFTs will be able to preserve and also to grow the value over time. And of course, after the initial hype is over, and NFTs are great, but there is also a learning curve here. I can be found on LinkedIn. I answer to all messages, not all the time immediately. Happy to be here again in our familyverse. Sorry,
Familyverse, and
Familyverse.
I'm excited you posted a dragon. Did anyone respond that it was just a dragon?
No, everybody knew it was an NFT. I believe I have some educated friends in the crypto space. I'm talking about my friends on Facebook.
Yeah.
But
all right.
Well, I assumed that 99% of the people don't know what that is.
Yeah.
But
and that's what we're here on VCTV to help figure out as well and share. But Jessica, close us out to closing thoughts. Where can you and this upcoming drop in the next few hours be found as well online?
Yeah, go to deusxnft.com. That's DEUSXNFT.com. And that is the drop that's being announced later today at 11. So you're getting a sneak peek now. You can find me on Twitter, which is basically where most NFT conversations happen anyway, at Jess Greenwalt, JESSGREENWALT. And I just wanted to comment on what Adrian said. I post so much NFT images now that if I post pictures of real life art, people ask me if it's NFTs. Like I went to Meow Wolf last week and I posted some videos and they're like, "Oh, rad NFTs." I'm like, "Oh no, this is actually IRL." So it's funny. It's like a reverse situation on my social media. But yeah, closing thoughts. I'm super excited for what NFTs can do for entertainment and for the actual fans who are consuming content, because now you can influence the story and own a character like you've never been able to before. And I can't wait to see what happens.
For those who may not be aware as well, IRL in real life. We've been living on Zoom for quite some time, so just want to help out the audience just in case. But nonetheless, John, Emmanuel, Adrian, Jessica, thank you very much for sharing your thoughts and insights on today's topic around NFTs and the future of entertainment. A lot of excitement around this industry and this area of blockchain. Can't wait to see what comes next here as we turn into the fourth quarter of 2021, a foundational year for non-fungible tokens as well. To everyone for tuning in, big thank you. And also make sure you like, share, and subscribe on today's episode. Make sure you reach out to all of our speakers on the respected social media networks. Please do add context where you heard them, where you met them, and what you would like to continue the conversation about. Also, big thank you to the LaToken team, to Hasmik and Maria for making today's episode possible. I'm your host, Kyle LeCont. Until tomorrow, everyone have a great day, and we'll see you back here on the VCTV Familyverse. To Adrian's point, take care, everybody.